This book is not good, and I did not enjoy it. I probably should have stopped reading it. I'm making this video to point out, whether they are intentional or not, deceptive elements in the novel. I bought it and went into it believing it was a sci-fi semi-dystopia story because that's how all the reviews and the book itself are presented. The Mercy Journals, however, isn't really that at all. This novel is just literary fiction. The science fiction, climate fiction, and dystopian elements are all negligible, and I'll get more into that in a bit. It has the epistolary style of Anthem by Ayn Rand and The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, but those choices are made so it can showcase the myopia of Alan Quincy, the sad sack narrator protagonist. Quincy is a disabled veteran with PTSD, which I think is a callous move to insulate him and the novel from criticism. Quincy, along with all the other quote-unquote characters, is unlikable, and not because of his prior military action that he now regrets. He's a bad protagonist because he's almost entirely passive and reactive. Additionally, he's so disengaged from everything that his short-sightedness borders on pathological solipsism. You might say, but isn't that a reflection of his PTSD? Granted, in some circumstances, it could be, but in this novel, it is a necessity explaining why Quincy is the way that he is. PTSD is a crutch used by the plot to justify a character's behavior. It's like when lazy writers make a character an alcoholic just so he or she can fall off the wagon. Quincy, not being particularly active, engaged, or observant about the world, also means we hear next to nothing about the actual state of things in this climate-based, near-apocalyptic dystopia. Again, it comes across as an excuse to not show any of those things. We hear passing references to near-extinction events, ecological catastrophe, the Great Die-Off, and one-world government, but almost none of it is approached with any depth. If every sci-fi element were removed, this novel would effectively be exactly the same. It might even be better, because then it would have to include real historical events to which the audience might have some connection or could fill in the gaps themselves. As it stands, there's pretty much no reason for this book to be set in 2047 with its quasi-dystopia. Of everything, this one-world government is the least believable element of the book, less so even than the funhouse mirror hyper-communists found in Anthem. That somehow everyone would ultimately be convinced to join in a worldwide authoritarian regime for the quote-unquote greater good without prolonged and continued rebellion stretches credulity to the breaking point. As someone who has lived in the Pacific Northwest, where this novel is set, I can verify there are plenty of people who rankle at the constraints of a liberal democratic government, never mind one that regulates everything down to the electricity and caloric consumption. Even the most basic overview of American history shows this is a country where there is always someone saying no. To posit otherwise is an absurdity that breaks the fiction, and this is to say nothing of other places on the globe where such a development would be beyond the plausibility of this fiction. In similar, better novels like Pest House by Jim Crace, or The Children of Men by P.D. James, or Water Knife by Paolo Bacigalupi, if the science fiction elements were removed, the story doesn't work. The Mercy Journals is a masquerade. It wants to inhabit the same space as other dystopian novels, but its use of those genre conventions is just a sloppy paint job that peels off at the slightest scratch. This situation wouldn't be such a problem if the underlying book were any good. Alas, it is not. The first half of this novel is about a guy with a midlife crisis who has a 6-week relationship with a manic pixie dream girl named Ruby, but he destroys that relationship with his bottomless neediness. The second half of the novel is that same guy, his brother, and stepnephew traveling out to a cabin their parents owned to have a kind of survivalist dream vacation. Also, a love triangle pops up out of nowhere, and the book desperately reaches for a biblical Cain and Abel parallel that it doesn't set up well or earn. There is a part toward the middle where I thought, I hope this mountain lion eats them all. All the characters are just types, not really fleshed out in any meaningful way. Ruby might have more going on, but Quincy's obsession with her means the novel fixates on her as an object that the narrator covets rather than as a character with her own agenda. Similarly, Quincy's brother is selfish, manipulative, and destructive to a cartoonish degree. I also have an aversion to the lack of punctuation used as a type of stylistic device, but that's a minor gripe in the scope of everything else this novel does poorly. I do not recommend the Mercy Journals. Have you read this book? Feel free to put your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my criticism and peculiar notions. If you enjoy or learn from the channel and want to show your appreciation for what I'm doing, you know what to do. You should also take the time to like and subscribe to another YouTuber you're fond of. Until next time, read some good books, live, and be well.